Hello again. We are Chris Lee and Chase Robinson of Southeastern 16 here to preview Florida's matchup in Tallahassee with Florida State. Saturday, you may catch this 6 Central on ESPN2. BetOnline as of Tuesday morning favors Florida by 15 with an over-under of 45.5, making for an implied final score of Florida 30, Florida State 15. Boy, who would have thought that back in September? My computer composite model favors Florida by a dozen. Let's just get right into it, starting with Florida's offense against Florida State's defense. I mean, DJ Lagway playing on a injured hamstring at the least. Part of his game is gone.
Yeah.
But, man, he has shown us why he was just so highly sought as a high school recruit. Florida's starting to get some supporting guys healthy. Montrell Johnson, Elijah Badger, their receivers. I think Florida feels like it's been as well as it's been in a while. Meanwhile, Florida State's defense, throughout Charleston Southern last week, 52 points allowed to North Carolina on November 2nd. 52 to Notre Dame November 9th, 35 to North Carolina the week before, 35 to Miami the week before that. Just feels like two teams headed in very different directions on this side of the matchup.
It does, and Florida's trajectory is very high the way they've been playing. They've been tremendous in getting the wins. Big win against Ole Miss. And Florida State on the other side, it's been brutal for those guys in Tallahassee this year. And it is not what anyone expected from Florida State after the year they had last year. So, I think when you look at DJ Lagway and the playmaking ability that he has, and then you look at Florida State, just hadn't been able to stop anybody. And they haven't been able to stop struggling teams. And yet, Florida State, they've got some players. They went portal heavy, and they didn't get the guys who can make the big plays. And Florida right now can make some big plays. And I think that Florida's offense, they're going to have to be clicking. But look, Florida State, they don't have playmaking ability. It's been bad.
Yeah, we're an SEC channel. It's hard to know what to say. Florida State's season has been, with all due respect, sort of irrelevant for a while. But the troubles, I think, were on display pretty early. Just, an offense that's having trouble moving the ball and scoring points, that's putting the defense in a bad spot. We'll flip sides of the matchup. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, college basketball, NHL to UFC, and MMA, head to BetOnline today. Get in on all the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Florida's defense really struggled with the run earlier in the year. Gotten a lot better. Still not great statistically, 4.8 yards per rushing play. Pass defense have been surprisingly good. Florida's found a little bit of a pass rush, even with Jason Marshall Jr., their top corner, out. I would say this has been a great unit, but it's been solid. Meanwhile, Florida State, the numbers just across the board for the season are ugly. Less than 16 points a game. That's really hard to do in the Power 5. 2.9 yards per rush. That's not counting for sacks, but 6.1 yards per pass attempt. I mean, Florida really, I'm shocked at how much the Gators have improved, because you watch them early in the year against A&M, against Miami. You're just like, my goodness, they are bad on defense. And then they lost guys, but testament to Billy Napier. Florida has stayed in the fight. It has gotten better, and this feels like a side where Florida's definitely got the edge.
Oh, yeah. We talk about the Florida State defense not able to stop anybody. Florida State just hasn't been able to score. Just looking up and down the scorecard, they scored 21 on Georgia Tech, 13 on Boston College, 12 on Memphis, 14 on Cal, 16 to SMU, 13 to Clemson, 16 Duke, 14 Miami, 11 to North Carolina, 3 to Notre Dame, and they did put up 41 on Charleston Southern. But this has been a team that just they can't score. They're on their third quarterback, and we saw DJU start the season. We've seen Brock Glenn. We've seen Luke Cromenhawk, and they continue they're struggling run the ball. Only 7 rushing touchdowns this season. Their receiver Ja'Kai Douglas has 486 yards and 4 touchdowns. He has the most on the team, but quarterback problems have just led to the offense sputtering out. And again, there's been some not great defense in the ACC played, and Florida State still hasn't been able to score on them. So, look, we said there's major issues really on both sides of the ball for the Seminoles.
All right, picks and why. We'll start with you.
I think Florida is just on a roll right now. I would pick Florida even if they weren't on a roll right now. I just Florida State is, again, it's been a rough year for the Seminoles, but look, Florida is playing really good football right now, and I feel like things are coming together. They're bowl eligible. They got the upset win over Ole Miss, and sometimes you would think, oh well, they you may get caught up in everything going into this game after a big win. No, I think Florida keeps the foot on the gas, and I think they get it done. Now, it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. We say that, but I just think Florida is playing so good right now, and I'm starting to really trust them. Like they can get the job done. I like Billy Napier and the Gators.
The model I put together is usually pretty close to the line, usually within 1 or 2 points. It's not super often. I guess you see it some, especially in rivalry games where teams have injuries or whatnot, that you're more than like a field goal off. And in this case, I think the odds makers are closer to it. You look at the type of opponent that Florida State has played in the past weeks in terms of just quality ones. They're losing this game 15 points or more most of the time, the last half of the season. Give me Florida. That team's got a lot to play for. I'm not inside Florida State's locker room and knowing what they're playing for. I guess it's good news they showed up against Charleston last week, won that decisively. But it just feels like Florida's got a lot to play for. You win this, you're 7-5. You get a bowl game, you're 8-5. And in my opinion, at that point, probably ought to be ranked. So give me the Gators. Billy Napier's got them playing as well as they have played since he's been there at this point in the season. We'll ride with that. When it is over, we'll be here to talk about it Saturday night. Best way to get that, hit that subscribe button and enable your notifications. We go live at 9:30 Central to react to the day's games. Hope you'll catch us then. For Chase Robinson, I'm Chris Lee. Happy Thanksgiving. God bless you. You've been watching Southeastern 16 presented by BetOnline.